Select adventure. So we already did Great Ace Attorney. And wait, adventures? No, I did that. Why does it only say new game? Well, is it because I beat it? Because I know I... That's weird. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if I just continued from the first one. Anyway, sorry. We're gonna... Why does it say select adventure? Okay, so there's 1, 2... Blossoming Attorney. But I already won episode 2, Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. Anytime I hear the word Kokoro in English, it makes me just think of not great things. Okay, 4. Okay, so there are 5 chapters. Okay, well, off we go. I was highly considering doing story mode, but no. Oh yeah, should I wear my little... Where's my hat? I think both my hats are in my car. So you know what? I'm not gonna... I'll start. Wait, what? Oh, you just choose. Okay, back. New game. All right, here we go, guys. It's time for another Great Ace Attorney adventure. I hope you're ready. Oh. Hello, giant tree that looks kind of like a bonsai tree.
Standing here in the bright sunshine.
What?
Looking out over the vast ocean.
What?
Those days in London seem like a dream.
There's talking?
But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
What?
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
Well, it did start from the beginning of the second one, but I just started it anyway. But there's talking? There was never talking before, right?
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened.
Oh, great.
Just 2 months after arriving home.
Oh, I find myself faced with another awful crime. Wine, mask, knife, lady.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court.
Again.
For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
What? Wait. Oh, what? Oh.
So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Yeah! It's kind of funny that his name is Kazuma, and I've been playing a lot of Yakuza, and it's Kiryu Kazuma. There's a lot of Kazumas are cool guys, I guess. Episode 1, The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. So, wait, so she's attorney? I mean, yeah, but... 13th of August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court Adjudicature, Defendant's Antechamber 3. Was Miss Plum in the garden with a frozen squirrel? Well, dang, cook that thing up then. Don't keep it frozen. No, not Kiryu. I'm just saying Kiryu has the same, he's got the same name. Kazuma Kiryu. No, Kiryu's not dead. Don't worry, he's fine. I'm currently actually going through Yakuza Kiwami 2, and it's a big shock because it's very different from 0 and 1, but I'm still enjoying punching people and Kazuma Kiryu being the coolest dude. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Oh, she's in Japan. I guess this is going to go in between Japan and not Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Oh, that guy. I think I remember him. It's been almost a year. Please don't kill Kiryu ever. No. He's been shot a lot, but he's fine. Even in cutscenes, if he gets shot, he's fine. Although, generally, if people get shot in cutscenes, in a Yakuza game, they're gonna die. And it makes me sad because one thing I have learned about the Yakuza series is that Kiryu is not allowed to have a good time for longer than like 5 minutes. And it makes me so sad because he deserves so much better. Him and Majima are the best boys, and they shouldn't have to deal with that. You have pictures of a squirrel? What does that mean? Why do you have squirrel pictures? Was there? Oh, it was playing. Oh, it was playing on a tire swing. Oh, look at that. Ah, good, you're here. Doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes. Good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet. I mean, she's already pretty pale, so I don't feel like there's a huge difference. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Oh yeah, that's Dad! Mikotoba, yeah! Hi, Dad! Kiryu's like cursed by the narrative. Majima is like, oh yeah, but Majima's also just, I will say, one of my favorite things, but also one of the things I didn't like about Yakuza Kiwami is that obviously in Yakuza 0, you play half as Kiryu, half as Majima, and you learn their stories, and Majima did nothing wrong, and he gets horrible, horrible things happening to him. I mean, so does Kiryu, but Majima, I feel, gets the short end of the stick in that one. And then in Kiwami 1, which is just the first Yakuza game, because 0 is a precursor, Majima is basically just your bro trying to make you the best that you can be, because you get thrown in prison for 10 years, taking the fall for a murder you didn't do, because that's what Kiryu does, because he's just a cool guy like that. And you get out, and you basically get Metroided. All of your stats are really low. You don't know any of your moves anymore. Your Dragon of Dojima style is like utter garbage. And then Majima's like, oh man, you've been in jail for 10 years. You fucking suck. I'm going to attack you every possible time I can so that you can get stronger. And you do get a lot stronger, but he also gets like ridiculously strong. It's really fun for a while, and then near the end, I had to turn the difficulty down when I was fighting him, because I was like, Majima, you're going too ham. You have 5 health bars. Nobody should have 5 health bars. But by the end of the game, I was kicking ass like crazy, aside from like the major fights where they're like, this is going to take a while. And in Kiwami 2, I haven't run into Majima yet, but I do know that he's running a construction company, because why not? We saw him when walking to your aunt's house. They're like, aw, he's springing on you from everywhere. It's great, but he's a curse. We love Majima, but he is a curse. He is cursed. Did you know, Beth, that he shows up in a host, like a cabaret club. Cabaret clubs are where, you go to hang out with women and you spend money and you give them drinks. And you run into them there. You run into him there, and he's dressed like a cabaret girl. Goromi, you have a Goromi's so, I will say, every event he was in was like the best, because I'm just like, this is so stupid, but also so on brand. It's very good. It's just very good. Okay, anyway, sorry. That's enough talk about Yakuza. It's a very good game series. I'm working through it. Check it out on my YouTube. But this is about mysteries and stuff, and not punching people usually. Don't underestimate your levels of fangirling. I mean, fair. Wait. Back to the other Kazuma. No, it's okay. I mean, I like talking about Yakuza, because now that I've gotten into it a lot, I'm like, this game is very good. Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University, a man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Oh, hello. Hi? Who are you? You're cute. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Yes. That's right. Yes, Miss, well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing. Okay. Where in the timeline does this take place? Okay, so this is, you could consider Great Ace Attorney and Great Ace Attorney 2 to be precursors to every other Ace Attorney game, because this happens back, I think this is the late 1800s or early 1900s. Actually, I think it's early. When was Sherlock Holmes around? Because there's a Sherlock Holmes adjacent character in this game. So around that time. So way back. I don't know if Naruhodo is actually related to Phoenix or not, if he's like an ancestor or what. But Great Ace Attorney is the earliest in the series, and now I'm playing 2, Great Ace Attorney 2, and I'm currently playing as oh god, what's her name? I don't want to get her name wrong, but I'm playing as the girl that was basically like your aide in the original Great Ace Attorney. And I feel like what happens is I'm going to be going between Japan and Britain, because Naruhodo, I think, is still in Britain, and I went back to Japan because I had to take care of stuff. I believe that tidbit was part of the release info for the first. Okay, yeah, I wasn't 100% sure though. I didn't want to. But this definitely happens like early 1900s or late 1800s, whichever one is the. Because Sherlock Sholmes is he's Sherlock Holmes. They just, you're not allowed to use that name usually, I think, unless it's that serious. Who knows? Okay, Ray Membami, born in the same year as I, and my greatest friend. And I feel like they're both quite young. 1880 to 1940. So around that timeline, which is way before Phoenix's time, because I believe the first Phoenix Wright game came out after the year 2000, and it was set in, like, current day, if not, like, a few years back, because he does use an old cell phone, but I think in Japan they kind of use flip phones still, now. And they were still very popular for a while after smartphones got super popular here. No, you're fine. Like, but the way to think about it is Great Ace Attorney and Great Ace Attorney 2 are they're the first 2 games. Even though they were the last games to come out, they're the first 2 in the Phoenix Wright timeline. Makes sense? It's just like Zelda, when they're like, hey, this game is like, it happened way before everything else. But also it's like the 20th game in the series, and you're like, okay, just let me go punch Ganon, I guess. Okay, so best friend, same grade as me, something happened. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory helping my father. Oh, yeah, a woman in our time. So this is back, yeah. Women working in laboratories? That's man's work. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling all right? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh, my, it's just that... What? You look so gallant and dashing. Oh. Sorry? Suzato! That's the girl's name. I was like, Suzato. That's the girl that was in the first Great Ace Attorney as like the aide, basically. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Do you like girls? You can say it. It's fine. Goodness, I don't think she knows. What? You don't, what? She doesn't know what, Suzato? Oh, she hasn't realized who I am. Oh, wait. She doesn't remember you? It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. What? Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? Wait. Not legally, yeah. Wait, am I dressed up like a dude because women aren't technically a part of the Japanese legal system right now? Is that... What? Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. But, Father? Well, maybe you woke something in your best friend. What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that— No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. How many varsity things are there? Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial University. A male student. Well, let me see it. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see, I know, please! It was the only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. What? My defense? Never before in my life had I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Damn! Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. I need to see this! But women are forbidden. Now, just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. Also, I gotta get some more, practice. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Oh, I feel like Ray, please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. Dad, I don't think that's the compliment you think it is. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Is she? I can't tell. I don't know about the trembling, but the slumpies, I guess. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. Except for these impure thoughts you're currently having about your best friend. Cannot believe this. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Yeah. That means so much to me, Susato. Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh, stand aside. Okay, bye. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. You want to see? I do too. It's okay. If the disguise shows up before you get back, I'll take a screenshot. Because thankfully I can do that with the Switch. Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into a courtroom and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. I mean, technically you have experience. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But I'm out, but thank you. Okay. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this? Yes, quite right. I kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I mean, fair. Coffee done. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is that true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. Please. Well, we're going to have to see her in a second, because she's going to be on the other side of that table. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Please. We need to see it. Okay, we're in the courtroom. Oh! Oh! Look at her! Okay, we should get a close-up soon, Beth, but yeah. I think she's wearing, I don't think she's wearing Kazuma's stuff, but I think it's the same kind of uniform. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membani. Oh, it's Ouchie again! You stupid bastard! Oh, I hate you and your kid. It's always Pain or Ouchie. That name. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Look at her! I mean, look, granted, you shouldn't... No. Naruhodo didn't die. Naruhodo... Yeah, she does look really dashing. Naruhodo is just still in Great Britain. She got called back, though. Susato got called back to Japan, and Naruhodo's in Great Britain. He was best friends with Kazuma, the one who died. In fact, he was accused of the murder because he was a stowaway in Kazuma's, wardrobe. And he got knocked out and then woke up and, yeah, best friend dead. So, yeah. Yeah. And Susato really didn't trust him at first. She thought he was kind of a creep, but then slowly over, them working together, she's like, okay, you're a pretty cool guy and you're doing your best. Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready! Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryotaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Oh no, you called yourself Naruhodo, no! Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you this little venture. So I'm afraid I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Oh, yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryotaro, who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It seems Ryotaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be, you may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as a part of the study program. This is, his cousin. Oh, you said it. That's right. Ryotaro here has been studying the provinces, but was called into the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has to call in a country boy. How dare you? Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Her. Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. I can't even see your eyes, bro. But you don't have enough hair to be talking crap. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing here in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are want to flit. Stop flitting them. Just look straight ahead. Conk. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago. Yet for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. Off to the bath, good luck with the trial. Thank you. I'll do my best. Usually these ones are pretty straightforward, but who knows? Maybe they'll throw some curveballs at me. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? All right, it's time to prove myself. Slap! Yes, Your Excellency. Please do make them simple. Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim. Whew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Come on! Let me look at the stuff. What's the matter? It won't let me press R to access my stuff. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are want to blank. Come on. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right. Just use R to open the court record. Then you need to flip to the people. Yeah, and don't take long to do it. He's watching me. All right. Check it with R. Okay, now the court record is accessible. I was wondering why I couldn't access it straight away. Okay, post-mortem report. Victim, Giselle Brett. Oh, that's why it's a big thing. It was a British woman who got killed. Female, British. Time of death, 11th of August around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Notes, extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Welcome back. A British woman was killed, and that's why this case is so big. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? Giselle Brett.
Yes!
No, you're doing the same thing! The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett? A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? People. The victim of a case who was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting Professor Dr. Professor Dr. John Wilson. Wait. Oh, she was the first case of the first game? No wonder why I forgot. It's been like a year. Okay. Obviously, you won't have forgotten the case from 9 months ago. I did. Thanks, Dad. It's been a while. I've played other games. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. I forgot her name was Giselle Brett, but I do remember she was a British woman. Behind the woman student is a student persona was the face of a killer. Yes! 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. Oh, the Steak Man! At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. Second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. I forgot her stupid swan hat. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China, instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed. Only the day before? That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Oh. Wait. History. Over the first hurdle. There we go. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie. As is your wish, Your Excellency. I don't like Ouchie or Payne or any of them. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight on the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. What's the motive, bro? You can't just say there's a motive and that means there's a motive. Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about, powerful motive? Yeah. Because he didn't explain, he just said it. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut, tut, tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon? No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that the defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Oh, okay, so he thinks that she killed her because she killed him, and... Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago? The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, it's clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details. Something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about being alone together. Membami-san? Yes, what is it, Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryotaro Susato. Yeah. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No, because as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Yeah, wow, that sounds like a whole bunch of conjecture, sir. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. Yeah, I use that word. I'm so smart. This game has taught me 3 words over the course of 7 games. Well, actually, no, it's 1, 2, 3. This is like the 8th game, because it was the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then Apollo Justice, and then, was it Apollo Justice, Spirit of Justice, and Dual Destinies? Or Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice? I don't know. There's a lot of games. There was the first 3, and then there was the other 3, and then there's these 2, and then there's some Edgeworth ones, but I haven't done those. I don't know if I want to do those. Maybe if people want to see it enough, I'll do it, but I don't know. Prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel and, on what he said about. Also, for those on YouTube, you might notice that the camera angle is different again. That's because I changed it. Don't worry about it. I think this works a bit better. The bathing spot. He said a lot of things about it. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie. What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? Wow. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry? Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. Of course. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. You just said they were the only 2 on that beach. And now you're saying there's a detective. But in fact, murder took place. I said don't look at me. It was the young student girl who did it, not I. No one has proved that yet. Wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murderer of the mentor for whom she had great respect for enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai, you can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim accident. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, there's nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. I don't know. Maybe behind that dress thing? Also, why is there a bottle on the ground? The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. As I understand it, then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. Do you? Oh, gosh. I don't like that. We intend to prove the accused appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. But witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you that testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Okay, well, let's hear it then. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses. Takatsuchi Ouchi have been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Oh, yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me. That sounds like a personal issue. Oh, did he had more hair then, did he? Arg! Ryunosuke Naruhodo! What? Yes? This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten. You become conceited with age, counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Oh yeah, his hair! He cut his top knot! I forgot! Oh! Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, counsel? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Ouchi growth. You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? That's the saddest thing I've ever seen. I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I hate that. Please don't say that. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is the hope exactly? I said silence! Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witness to the stand. Looks like the stakes are high on both sides of this trial, yeah. Prosecution and the defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. Yeah, come on, Dad. Don't defend this man and his crazy talk. Oh, are you, hello? Oh, it's you! No, he's back, and also the man in the bathing suit. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna hate this. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Wait, isn't Satoru the one who was on the boat and then he just started bleeding and then that's the guy? Why is he still acting like a British man? You're very obviously Japanese and you're in Japan. Why do you need to hide your identity? Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books, an author renowned throughout the capital, in fact, yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, the sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Oh my goodness. struggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural you'd feel nervous in my presence, but all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Tread carefully, Susato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this'll be over before it's begun. Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. I suppose it's this disguise, isn't it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present, but what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. That's hard to believe. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. Practically threw that paper at me. A newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited. Anyway, following my interview with him, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. Okay, I kind of want to read this, though. Well, let's look at the print. So she's got a pen in her hand, but why? Wine on the ground. What if I saw somebody? Well, there's footprints all over the place, so somebody went in there. She's got. Look at all the masks she has. Why did she have so many masks? Magnifying glass. Oh, the cat! The cat! Why does he look like he's about to throat chop my dad? Also, I kind of thought it would let me read it, but I guess it's just a picture. Yeah. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance, and the response was permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. That detective, I am at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so you're bleeding again. I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No, fortunately I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But if only I'd never have seen that awful sight. relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Very well, I must ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am... Oh, he sounds just as fun as before. Witness testimony. The witnessed scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I'd just managed to catch that crab when suddenly I heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once where I found the pair in question. Yes. Then that young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand as she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade, proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Excuse me. It's literally just one stab wound. Single deep stab wound from behind. There weren't multiple stabs. Why must you lie? Why do you lie? Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. Did they, though? The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence. What have you there, counsel? So-called fountain pen, is it? Hi, Geekyu. How are you doing today? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. The initials of the defendant. No! Wow, well, that doesn't mean anything. Anybody could have an RM. This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. The fountain pen has been entered into the court record. Great. So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. Prosecutor Ouchie of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. It's the little seat on his head. Oh no! Well, I hope that things get better for you. I know that can throw off the balance quite a bit, but it's been pretty good today. I slept in a little bit, which I didn't want to do because it's one of the days that I work, but I still got a bit of work in, and I feel pretty accomplished. I'll just have to make sure I actually set my alarm tomorrow morning, like I'm supposed to. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Hello? Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo? That means... Oh, yes, me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please. All right, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witnesses' testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. You are a real lawyer. The witness scene. Well, I already know what the big issue was. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment. Okay, yeah. Just a second. Okay, we're gonna press that.
Hold it!
She was stabbed multiple times. How can you be sure of that? Very simply, from the blood on the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
Oh. And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
The victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly.
Yes, right.
Maybe a year in London was too much for him. Sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly? That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Wow. Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness.
I wasn't mocking him, I was just saying. Okay. Goodness, my dear, you must really try to calm down. Yeah, I already found an inconsistency. Delusion, yeah. Okay, with evidence, yes. Yeah, okay, present, yes. Yes, okay, this is all tutorial again. Here we go again. Yeah, there's nobody else to nobody else to defend her, so do your best or your friend is gonna... It's time to present the post-mortem report. Because
Objection!
she was only stabbed once. She was definitely stabbed only once. With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What's the meaning of that menacing pose, counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me.
Who? What? Where? When? How?
Not you, Sasaki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now, you said the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be.
What?
Get to the point, please, counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Ah!
In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed.
Ah!
And Soseki-san,
Me?
you claim to have seen Mambami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes, I did. Wildly.
But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife when you saw that you saw the defendant was holding. Yes, and it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True.
Then what exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? It's obvious. Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
That can't be.
Excellent work, Susato. You exploded at them with that objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically. Oh, what?
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right, there were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Slander! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged that deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim.
Ah,
All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance.
I mean, fair, kind of. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade,
Then we are back where we started.
sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife? Yes, going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could stab her again, hide the knife, save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought that she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Why is everybody acting like this?
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed. Ugh. Is it just me or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify in respect to the slipshod assertion I just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, okay. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector.
Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems.
But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector, I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Okay, what now? Forensic medicine primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife out from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Okay, fair, but also... Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes.
Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. That does make sense, and I have heard that before. Like, most of the time, it's like if you're in a car accident and something's stuck in you, they're like, don't try to pull it out. Let the EMT or whoever show up and, like, get you out of there first. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. This is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so, Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Hi, Dixies. But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have... Susato! Yes? Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my education immediately afterwards. It's been pretty good today, Dixies. I slept in, which annoyed me, because I like getting up early to get work done and be done with it for the day, but I might work a little extra tonight, because I got up at like 8 a.m. when I usually get up at like 5:30. So I didn't get nearly as many rides as I could have. I understand. Believing in your client and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. That's what she said. Cross-examination. Press. But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew was lying on the ground bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. Well, English thing with that. Wow. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear. Perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little bit too much. Wow. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membami-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. Okay. It's hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. Evidence is what counts. Okay, yeah. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You didn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. Okay, yeah, so... Examine the evidence? Yeah. No, I didn't want to ask for a refresher. Spartan guidance, shit. Okay, oh, God. Oh, the fountain pen! Okay, so I have to look at it. Oh, God, I didn't mean to do this. Also, I found something out, Dixies, that I almost did in this game. You can actually straight up have the game play itself. It's called story mode under reader in options. And you literally turn that on and all it does is it auto plays everything and it automatically like answers things, submits. It's literally just you watching the game progress, which is amazing. And I was so tempted to do it, but I was like, you know what? That feels a little bit too much like cheating. And I feel like people would feel a little robbed if literally all I did was sit here and narrate. You know? Yeah, watching a movie, basically. Yes, the initials are RM. There they are, clearly engraved on the barrel. Okay, you can look at a piece of evidence from all angles. Okay. Oh, what is that? There's some sort of emblem here. Look. But it isn't a Yume University one. Must belong to some other organization, I suppose. Business of some kind. But that would seem to imply the pen doesn't, in fact, belong to Ray. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I should have thought of looking at that then. Maybe I put it on this one? In that case, there's an obvious explanation here, which is... Clearly, the defendant, Ray Mabami-san, does not present... That's the worst thing you could say. What's next? AI plays it for you? Maybe. That's the worst thing you could have said. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense. Well, I thought it'd be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it. Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. Oh dear, that recoiled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Okay. Yeah, she would have been aware of it. Got it. But where would I put the fucking pen? Like in these statements. Maybe she picked it up off the ground. I don't, like, none of these statements talk about the pen. That's something else. Then maybe it wasn't her that did it. Maybe it was someone else.
Objection!
Oh, that didn't stop the music. I must object. The evidence? I apologize. That's... Well, where the hell... See, this is the kind of shit that pisses me off. He told me what evidence I need. Where the fuck do I present it? Oh, this is already tiring me out. Press it again. Or maybe I didn't press this one. Does that mean if you use due care and attention, it would be all right? I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but the blade is... Okay, stopper. In other words, a medic would have to have something ready. Doing it without me... Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath. Ugh. Back to the witness testimony, please. Like, please tell me this isn't one of those where I have to freaking
press every single one. Okay, I did that. I did that.
Hold it!
Did I already say that? Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Membami-san's nature to do something so awful. She had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. But you don't know the defendant. Maybe that's the one I do it on then. And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law. Yes, the evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument. Okay, so this is where I do evidence. It's so annoying. This fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused. So do I. Okay. You will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Okay. Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Membani-san. Membani-san. Okay, so we're gonna present the pen here.
Objection!
The witness statement is definitively contradicted by this piece of evidence. Is that so, counsel? Then perhaps you... How? Well, definitively. Contradiction... where do I fucking do it? This is what pisses me off about this stupid fucking game. Where the fuck am I supposed to do this shit? It literally said evidence. It literally said evidence is the key. So I gave them the fucking evidence, and they still slapped me on the wrist. What the fuck do you want? It's probably another one of those press every statement, and it's like, oh no, I can't do this. Here's the evidence that'll change things. I fucking hate that about these games. Like, just let me fucking present the evidence that I have. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent. Yeah, she was extremely grateful to him. Yes. Broad-minded. We already fucking pressed everything. So where the fuck do I show the evidence? Yeah. Oh. I have the evidence, you fucking piece of shit. But if I give evidence on everything and it's wrong, I'm just gonna get a fucking game over. I already checked it. It didn't help. Do I need to get it further? See, this is why I really considered fucking story mode. Because, like, this fucking game can't decide what the fuck it wants. I already checked that. Can we look at the RM again? Well, RM initials are very clearly engraved here. The fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message, too. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there could be any doubt that this is key piece of evidence in this case. Okay, cool. Is there anything else? If we take off the pen's lid, then it's a fountain pen. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Really? What? Okay, it's empty. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib. Something wrong, Father? Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Yes, you're right. It's pretty empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. There's a very small amount of liquid still inside the ink reservoir. Okay. Does that actually help me at all? Does any of this help me? Like, did I have to 100% examine this and some other thing shows up? Because this is the first case, and it's already making me feel like an idiot, and I don't like that. Oh, wait, what's on the other side of the paper? This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. Seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive, deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Yume's medical research? Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. Not heard of such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there? A highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it? What's written here is true.
It means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. Yeah, fair. Even if the puzzles can get kind of annoying sometimes, it's just a part of the game, and you just keep progressing instead of having to, like, sift through a bunch of stuff. I don't believe it. You need to read this article very carefully. An article about poison that was stolen from the laboratory at Yume University. Even my father, who's responsible for the lab, knew nothing of the incident. Cool. That doesn't help me at all right now. Raucous England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Saseki-san, isn't it, Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. He did hit you. I do hope you weren't hurt. Yeah, okay. That's stupid. Cool. Crime scene photograph. Okay. A very small amount of liquid. Poison. How do any of these fucking mean anything? Is it just gonna keep? It's just gonna keep going in fucking circles. Okay, I'm gonna. I did like. I don't know. Does anybody else see a connection? I don't see any fucking connection here. And on the one statement I checked where they're like, check the evidence, nothing fucking happened. This is supposed to be the easy case. Okay, is he gonna have me look at the pen, or he's probably gonna make me look at the pen again? Yep, he is. It's literally just the fountain pen again. Oh, first I had to examine for the. God damn it! Sorry, everybody. We have to go through this rigmarole again. You can look at everything. Yes, I will. I already looked at the whole thing. Oh, look. There's a symbol. I already checked it. That didn't belong to Ray. Cool. What if it wasn't her? Is that gonna be it? Okay, I gotta. How do I? Oh, there we go. I was like, how the fuck do I save the game? This is true, but. I really have no idea. I have no idea, and that pisses me off, actually. Well, attorney to... Like, there's no fucking correlations, and I hate that when they do that shit. Like, don't fucking make it impossible to figure shit out. Fucking so stupid. Okay. And that doesn't make any sense. Present it on the... There's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Look, even looking at this here, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I have to present the poison article.
Objection!
But nobody knew about the poison. He didn't even say shit about the poison. Is the knife poisoned? Like, it's so stupid. No, there is one possible. So you literally just have to pull this out of your fucking ass. One very good reason the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume University. The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But, Prosecutor Ouchie, you will let the defense speak. No, seriously, this is like some bullshit jumping to conclusions and shit. Like, I just learned about this. Even I agree. But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your Excellency. Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would have never done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in that article where it says, deadly in tiny quantities. I guess? Like, why would we just assume the blade was poisoned? The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Wait, did I have to look at it again? Oh my, that's the other thing I hate. You have to look at evidence like 3 times sometimes. Okay, following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsume on 11th of August, it's come to light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory was stolen. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, that's so specific, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. How convenient. University would have to be consulted. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with, acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. Cool. Such symptoms would be suggestive of this toxin. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. Okay, and the thing is, it also does say that she has huge pupil constriction. So she was poisoned. But I was supposed to just kind of, you look at the back of the article and you get that, and then you have to read the poison. Just goddamn. Sometimes this game like gives you a whole lot of shit and it's like, well, it's somewhere in there, I guess. Figure it out. Are you suggesting if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yeah, a whole lot of, that's the thing that sucks. Like, and I get the hype for the game, and I get it. Like, I like these games, but sometimes, like, this is the very first case, and I'm already like, oh, we're really off in the deep end already. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What? Yeah. You can't say that. That's stupid. This is complete and utter nonsense. Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. No, I will. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document, but also, I just read that nothing can detect it except for the university. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. No, please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. I don't think that's correct. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for the medical assistants to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she, do it, yokel?
Okay, why did suspect the stolen? Because the pupils. Let's check the report. If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What?
You can't possibly.
From your expression, counsel, it appears those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in the courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency, I'm well aware of that. Seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. You know what pisses me off the most, Dixie's? The fact that it was like, here's a refresher, or maybe we'll give you a hint. And all it does is it checks the pen. That's all it does. Like, it couldn't have been like, oh, you already checked the pen. Maybe you should check the backside of that paper. No, it's just like, no, check the pen. And you should figure out that maybe you should check everything else from that. And I'm like, just, if I ask for help, just actually help me. Don't just show me the same thing you just showed me. Seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. Oh. Okay. Yeah, present proof to the clear link between the poison.
Take that!
That. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim.
Ah!
Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death.
Well,
under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that most certainly is unusual, yes.
what are you doing, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, ending with the acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely, yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without a doubt. Prosecutor Ouchie, I think you'll agree this is very compelling evidence.
You yokel student, yokel professor!
The defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Eugen Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know.
You don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft.
You mean to tell this court that the reports of this theft are unfounded?
No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper?
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision. Father?
A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students rather than allowing them off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. Oh. 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 Oh, Ray. Hi. None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray? Mbami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated. But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day. What? So you knew? I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea of who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that dainty Englishwoman. Miss Giselle Brett. That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on the stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing to the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. Yeah, the English are the evil ones in this game. They're very racist. I don't believe it. In other words, you realize that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back. And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade. Yes, if the amount had entered the bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I'd hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. Okay. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membami-san, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, I have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? No, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. Are you lying? You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Ouchie. Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. That's her pulling the knife out. That's not her putting the knife in. She's taking it out. What the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. She looks concerned. She doesn't look angry. Oh, come on. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature, for it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true. No. I don't believe it. Ah! Order, order, order! Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Sir, oh, God. Susato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. I don't know how to say that. Who says that? Okay.
Cogent.
Cogent. It's cogent. Thank you, Google. Of an argument or a case, clear, logical, and convincing. Nobody says cogent. Now we know it, though. The incriminating photograph has been entered in the court record. Okay. I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve the entire time. Such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? Right, that is a good idea. I mean, that's really because that person could have stabbed him. That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh.
Objection!
No, that's a good question. That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Arrgh! I will uphold the defense's demand because it actually makes a lot of sense. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Was it you? Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, but there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown. Goodness. Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you yokel student, blabbering professor! Now, what matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn? Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without a doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. That's great. She doesn't look very angry, though. But... So this person was in, like... Wait. Their camera is cracked. Did Sasaki-san's photographer have a cracked camera lens? I bet he's the one who did it. Oh, boy. Wait. Was there...
Okay, so that was done officially by the police. This one was done by that guy. People. Because he has like a photographer that flitters around him. Yeah. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. Oh no! Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established is true so far, then there can be of no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces, and to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi, Ouchie, in a court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Well, counsel? Your Excellency, the burning question is who took the photograph, and the truth is... I have an answer. Because Saseki-san is also on the beach. This isn't about whether or not I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer? Maybe it was... Oh. Maybe it's the RM? I'm gonna save really quick. Because it did have a mystery symbol on it. Slap the tail. Yeah, no, it's true. There's, oh, frick. Turn to the question. Wait. Oh, it is! Because, yeah, there's a crack on it. There's a crack on it! I knew it! Okay, okay, so this is the evidence. I was like, how do we... What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes indeed. They had already caught my eye as it happens. What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or the like. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... Good gracious! Yes, the exact same pattern of lines is present on this photograph, too. Well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. Shut up, Ouchie. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, counsel. What's quite remarkable about it is the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of a camera defect. Obviously. Gosh, at least I know about photography, so that part I got. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes. We can confidently say the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. Stream, I knew how cameras work usually. Thankfully, the lens of my camera is not scratched. Unfortunately, the little screen in the back is a little scratched, but I tend to cover the lens as best as I can. There must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. No, it wouldn't.
Objection!
Actually, it'd be really easy. I think you're forgetting, I keep calling Professor, Prosecutor Ouchie, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. The newspaper? Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Ah! Good. And he's standing right next to Saseki. What the hell was that? I see why you were called a raucous England returnee. What are you yelling about? You've already testified. It's Menimemo, I tell you. Menimemo. Mo. Please don't hip thrust. I hate you. Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say Menimemo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Writing Menimemo. Writing Menimemo? Is that... Just kill me now. I have to deal with 4 more chapters of this. I have to deal with this, guys. Now you understand why there was like a year break between the first game and this game. This is gonna kill me, but it's okay. It's the last one I gotta do. It'll be fine. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Oh, now that he mentions it. That guy's there. Yeah. Secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. Is he just gonna disappear, or is he just gonna keep writing? Okay. Would that same reporter be like in the courtroom right now? Where's he at now? Where'd he go? Camera to the left of him, notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Writing Menimemo. Good reference. Good song reference. So you're saying this picture was taken by Menimemo, yes! My lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh boy. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Meh. Menimemo! Shut up! Oh, God. Please tell me I can save my game now. Let me save. To be continued. 2 hours. 2 hours of my life! And we're not done. That's only the halfway point. I'm going to take a break so I can pee and get some water and all that. And this is a good, I think, stopping point for the YouTube video. So everybody from YouTube, thank you for watching. Sorry I complained, but this game, oh gosh, this game. These games, I should say in general, as much as I love them, they cause me much brain pain. And sometimes they want you to do things that don't make any sense. Or just that you need to do a lot more research for, and then... But yes, thank you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. If you enjoy this, you could watch all of my other Ace Attorney playthroughs. There are many. Yeah.